What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome to a video where we're going to discuss our thoughts on the whole Caitlyn Clark situation. We know this is a big controversy. It's kind of died down the last couple of weeks, but I was busy uploading the Sluggers tournament for you, so we decided to wait until that was all done and then give me a week off, because Lord have mercy, has that stuff been really time-consuming on top of all my other responsibilities. So I took last week off. I know this is a bit of a break from what we normally do. When we talk, it's football content. It's always the NFL or maybe a little bit of UFL or a little bit of college. But it's mostly NFL talk. We're delving into the WNBA, which neither of us watch, but this is a pretty big story, and there's a lot of stuff happening with this, so we just kind of wanted to give our thoughts on the whole situation here. And I think the big thing that I wanted to focus on, and I think Robert Griffin III, who I know doesn't always have the most popular opinions, nailed this one on the head, and that is there are people trying to start a race war between Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark that just isn't there. Like, this isn't a race issue, and people who are trying to bring race into it need to stop. This applies all over. There's people on every side of whatever spectrum y'all want to put out there doing this crap, and it's not okay. It really and truly isn't. These young women are both very, very good basketball players. I mean, there's a reason that they both went at the top of this past year's draft, and they're both playing very, very well in the WNBA in their rookie seasons. And, you know, Caitlyn Clark is basically bringing all this attention to the WNBA that they've never, ever had before. And quite frankly, it hasn't been handled the best at all. There's a lot of players in the WNBA who, instead of being happy that people are finally watching the sport and that they might actually have a chance of, making more money, because that's a big contentious issue. Caitlyn Clark was their golden ticket to that. They're getting all jealous about it. And there's also definitely a bit of welcome to the league rookie. There's some people complaining about them fouling Caitlyn Clark hard and all that mess. That's just hazing. That's been a thing in sports for a long, long time. You always rough up the rookies, especially the up-and-coming stars who are a threat to your potential dominance as a team or as a player. That's been around for a very long time. I don't think that's a big deal. I think there's a little bit of that jealousy towards that, but I think that's just gamesmanship more than anything else. I don't think there's a lot there. But the WNBA absolutely could have handled this whole situation better. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I actually, I personally think that they have been a little bit too rough on Caitlyn Clark. I get hazing, but some of the stuff I've seen is a little bit too grisly, in my opinion. But that's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. What's really what I think I want to talk about most importantly is a lot of people are making something of nothing. I completely agree with what you and RG3 said. And yeah, RG3 sometimes doesn't have the most popular opinions, but in this case, he was down the money. Quit trying to make it something that's not. It's not a racial thing at all. And it's stupid that people are trying to force that narrative. It really is. But I will say the league is not handling the newfound fame that it's getting at all. It is not handling it well at all, and they need to handle it a little bit better if they want to keep up these chartered flights and the viewership that they have. Because right now, it is looking at viewership from last season to this season, it's incredible. It's an incredible skyrocketing viewership, but you need to be able to handle the fame that you're getting. And that's not just one athlete. That's all the athletes, and that's the entire league needs to handle it better, and they're not.
Yeah, I mean, they're tearing her down, and again, they see her as a threat to, their established way, and obviously, again, you see a player as good as Caitlyn Clark is and as good as she's going to be, you know, you're gonna want to try to knock her a peg down because that there is a competitive advantage to that. Again, there's definitely a jealousy factor with the fact that she's the one who's bringing in all the attention, but at the end of the day, it's a sport, and sports can get pretty rough, pretty brutal, and there's another side to this too. There's obviously the people who don't like Caitlyn Clark, which at this point there aren't many, but there are also a lot of Caitlyn Clark fans who are kind of unrealistic and expect her to be treated like God. And she isn't God. She's a very good and very popular basketball player. People got all upset that she wasn't included on the USA team. Caitlyn Clark is a very good basketball player. Could she crack the USA team? Maybe. But she would get very, very little playing time. Because, coming out of her college first year, you're not going to be the best player in the world. That's just not how it works. You got to earn your stripes. And while she's having a very good year, she wouldn't be a contributing factor to the U.S. women's team. That is just a fact of the matter. And so rather than have her go to the tournament and sit on the bench, which would upset Caitlyn Clark fans very heavily, they chose to leave her out and just, not do that. I mean, their reasoning makes sense. She probably is a bottom of the roster player in terms of meritocracy, but I think they were worried about the fan reaction to her getting almost no playing time, and they didn't factor that her not being there at all also wouldn't garner the same reaction, or they just wanted to get it all out of the way now. You know, let the storm blow over now, and then it's not a distraction during the actual Olympic Games. I think that's probably what they were going for, and I agree with the move if that was their thought process, because the way Caitlyn Clark fans reacted when she wasn't included on the team is very negative. They were very upset about it. They were very vocal. They act like she should be the star player when she's not the best that the U.S. has to offer right now. Will she be by the time the next Olympics rolls around? Very possibly. She is plenty good enough to do that. She has all the potential in the world. So, but everybody needs to calm down. That's basically what we're saying with all this. There's a lot of mess happening. Everybody needs to calm down. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. There's a lot of high tensions on both sides. There's a lot of Caitlyn Clark haters are getting too excited when she's getting roughed up. A lot of Caitlyn Clark fanboys and fangirls are freaking out when she's not playing all 42 minutes and everything else. It's somewhere in between. She's a very great player, likely the greatest player to come out of that draft. The greatest in the league so far? I don't think so, from what I've seen. And I mean, I've watched a few highlights here and there. I'm not going to pretend I've watched all the games, but I have. I've paid attention more to the WNBA this season than I have ever before. And talking about that, that's because of really the new personnel they've added. And so everyone just needs to calm down. But I will say, I think the league does need to get a handle on how it's dealing with some of the fame, because right now it's not the best. It's not the best. This could lead to a lot of successful careers and a lot more money given to female basketball players. And I'm sure they want that. But if they want that, they have to the league has to handle the fame just a little bit better. So I guess that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And then the final part of this whole situation, because obviously, Angel Reese is wrapped up in this, and a lot of that is because of some of the things that she's come out and said, which it's very clear that Angel Reese wants to be a part of what brings the WNBA popularity, just like, everybody else does. Everyone wants a piece of that pie. Everyone wants to say they made some of the pie. And I'm sure Angel Reese is bringing some people in, but not to the same level of Caitlyn Clark. And I mean, if you look at WNBA attendance, it's like every game that Caitlyn Clark Clark is in, it's an average of around 17,000, and every game that Caitlyn Clark isn't in anywhere else in the league, it's an average of 7,000. So Caitlyn Clark brings in an extra 10,000 fans a night, which more than doubles what the view people that are coming in, the fans that are showing up to the games. And, Angel Reese doesn't have that kind of draw the way Caitlyn Clark does. She came out and said, "Oh, it's both of us." And, maybe to an extent, but she's just not bringing in what Caitlyn Clark is at all. That's just a realistic take on the situation. She wants to be the Magic Johnson to Caitlyn Clark's Larry Bird. Because, the NBA wasn't popular until Bird and Johnson showed up, and that rivalry was born in college. They played the national championship. Bird was the only good player on his team, got him all the way there. Johnson was on a super team, and they basically guarded Bird very heavily, and the rest of the team wasn't enough to win, so they beat Bird. The same thing happened with these two players, Clark, Bird, Reese Johnson, so it's very possible that you actually see that kind of rivalry develop, and maybe that create something, but it wouldn't be like, oh, two great guys both bringing in fans and creating popularity in the league. It would more be like Caitlyn Clark has a villain to fight against in her career, which, if that ends up being the case, I'm worried for how Angel Reese is going to be traded. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Angel Reese as a person. I think she's a bit full of herself, but that doesn't mean that she deserves to be treated in an inhumane fashion by fans. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on that whole situation. T-Bone, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Both Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark both are very, very talented. I mean, I believe so far Angel Reese leads in rookie doubles for consecutive games. So she's very talented. She's got efficiency. Both do, but it's just it's a complicated subject. I feel like everyone needs to handle the situation with a little bit more tact.
Absolutely. The only person who's really handled everything well, in my opinion, is Caitlyn Clark. Everyone else around her has not done their best. But Caitlyn Clark, her attitude about everything has been amazing. She knows who she is, how popular she is. She doesn't let it get to her head, and she is a very, very good role model. She knows what she has to be for the league, and she's doing exactly that. And I commend her for that, and I feel sorry that she's getting dragged into all this debate and argument and this race war mess that just she's not a part of. She's not a factor in. So, I mean, I don't really watch the WNBA. I don't watch that much basketball in general. Like, I don't even watch the NBA. Like, the Celtics, who are my NBA team, won the championship, and I'm just kind of about it, even though it's our first since I was capable of remembering the sports games that I watched. Last time they won it all, I was 4. So, like, I'm just not big on professional basketball. College basketball, it's how's NC State doing, which this year pretty bad until it turned pretty darn good. Had some fun with that, but even though I'm not going to be watching, I will be rooting for Caitlyn Clark, and I'll be rooting for the WNBA to get some popularity. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not a fan of it personally. It's not a women thing. It's a basketball thing. Basketball ain't my sport. But, with all this going on, we felt like we needed to put our thoughts out there, and so, yeah. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe, and we will see you all in the next video.